Nobody can comprehend God. It's in your Quran, right? Okay. Because I don't really understand because I wanted to read first, but he asked something that I'm trying to understand. Nobody can comprehend God. It's in your Quran, right? Okay. If he just mentioned this, I might understand what he's trying to say. But when he straightway mentioned this, is he saying that the Quran actually say that you cannot comprehend God? Is that what he say? Okay, so if you want to verify something like this, I have to know which verse are you talking about, so that we can look and see the proper context and what the verse actually say before concluding anything. Anyway, Trinity is just a very confusing concept, but the way I see it, like God outside of our universe, which is the Father, Holy Spirit is the ethereal form of God that can transverse in our universes, but Jesus is God the Father's avatar, which is called Son of God. Okay, is this okay? He said the way I see it, right? So fine, that's how this person see it. But is this representative of what Christians believe in, or what Christians should believe in terms of the Trinity concept? Because he already defined that the Father is outside the universe, but Holy Spirit can transverse in our universe, and Jesus is the avatar of the Father. So there are three different three different form, because he says Holy Spirit is the ethereal form of God. So meaning that it's different form, right? But isn't it true that the Trinity, because based on the one video that I've watched, they say that if you think the tree is as a form, right? Like water, vapor, liquid, how to say? Water can be in different form. What a liquid, solid, and gas, for example, right? That's different form. But the video says that whoever goes and think of the Trinity in such a way, meaning that God have three different forms, that's wrong. That's what's the word they use, but that's plain wrong. Okay, that's the word of that video. So I'm, as an outsider, I'm not sure which is the more mainstream or the more fringe belief, or etc. Right? Because here it's like a form, right? Because Father is outside, but a form of God, which is the Holy Spirit, can come in, while Jesus is simply just the avatar, right, of the Father. Anyway, remember, nobody can comprehend God. So he make here, right? If he can create a universe, but he can become, okay. So when we say nobody can comprehend God, what do you exactly mean? What do we actually mean? For example, can we comprehend that God is all-knowing? Is it something? Oh, what? That's very difficult. Meaning, is that meaning conceptually? Is it not able to be comprehended? Or we say that, yeah, conceptually it's straightforward. God is all-knowing, but to really and to imagine, to you know, theoretic, operationally unwrap that in terms of, if there's in the forest so many trees, even one single leaves from a specific tree fall down, God knows that specific leaves from which specific branches fall exactly where on the ground, for example, right? That is the meaning of, or implication of, God is all knowing. Now, conceptually, is it so complicated that God is all knowing? Oh, so complicated. What? No, I cannot. How is God? Not how. What's the meaning of God is all knowing? I don't think the concept is something that we cannot comprehend. God is all knowing. That is easily comprehended. Yeah, God must be all knowing for all of this to really take place, etc., etc., etc. Right? But to unwrap God is all knowing in the how to comprehend that God know every single leaves that fall, know every single accident on the road, meaning all-knowing, right? Meaning how to comprehend such, 360 and knowing, etc., right? We cannot comprehend that. But can you comprehend that God is all-knowing? Yeah. So that's the difference, right? When we say Trinity is very confusing, that's the concept itself. Even the concept we cannot brain, we cannot understand, we cannot comprehend. We're not talking about, if the concept is simple, but unwrapping it to how exactly that is where we cannot even comprehend, right? If he can create a universe but he can't become human form, Muslim can't comprehend this part. Okay, and then for Muslim, God created our universe, but God can't create an avatar of himself in our universe. Okay, when you say create an avatar, is this exactly what you mean by becoming? Because the way we use words, sometimes I understand it differently. You use the same word, but you totally mean different thing. Because when you say create an avatar, create a universe, that's God created something, right? But when you say become human being, isn't it, when we verbalize that, doesn't mean that God himself now a human being, become a human being, right? We're not talking about create universe, but changing God's self. Becoming is basically like that, right? So it's two different things. You can, just because God can create everything, can do anything, doesn't mean that God can become something that is not God, right? Because that is the very reason, the very definition of God that enables God, or makes it understood that God can do everything here, because of God being God. If you want to suggest that God can become something not God, what? That doesn't make sense. Okay. For Muslim, okay, it's like creating a video game and you cannot make your own character. So interesting analogy here, right? Because you kind of paint the picture as if, like, okay, God created the universe, right? Okay, God created the universe, and then that's the video game, and then make your own character. But that character that you make, can you follow the analogy? Meaning you make something there to represent you, right? Meaning have the same faces, body features, etc., right? But it's you understand the what if you're saying that, if you want to argue God created something that, I don't know, resemble or refer back to him, that's one thing. But you say God become that, that's even more, cuckoo, right? Anyway, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. It's like God become human form to lead humanity towards prosperity. How is this related? How do you realize that when you say something from your mind, it's as if the verse complement each other, but from others, what are you talking about? This is totally different concept. Meaning that if you say that God loved the world, so God gave his only begotten Son, right? Give in the context of you know, right? But then you equate that to God becomes a human form to lead humanity, meaning that leading is basically you go and you lead people, right? It's not like you go and die for something. Totally different discussion, right? We are currently experiencing the kingdom of Christ as we speak, and we're only 2,000 years after Jesus. Imagine the technological leap we had since we adapted the Jesus ethics in society. Okay, I'm not sure what he's trying to say here. Number one, it has been 2,000 years after Jesus, okay? And then he says about technological leap, and then You said adapted the Jesus ethics in society. Okay, I'm not sure whether he is from the US or he's from Europe or somewhere else. Because if you are in the US, do you claim that the US have adapted Jesus ethics in society? Or if you are living in Europe, is that statement true to Europe? I'm just curious to know, because he made the statement. But to my observation, which society would you suggest that have actually adapted the Jesus ethics in society? Because I'm just wondering about the last sentence there. Yeah, so that's just to share a comment. With that, thank you for watching. See you next time.